everyone, Amanda here from Scrimpingmommy.co.uk. Thanks for joining me today. And today I'm going to share with you how to make this beautiful monotone card. It has an absolutely lovely sentiment. It says, take time to do what makes your soul happy. So you could send this for any occasion. It's stunning. So without further ado, we have started with a piece of black cardstock which measures 11 3/4 by 4 1/8, and we've scored it in the middle at 5 7/8. Now I have lined the front of my card with this DSP which comes from the Come Sail Away, and it has the nautical themed leaves on one side and stripes on the other, but I just thought the colouring was perfect for this card, so we can just pop that to one side. And for the sentiment, I have cut two of these shapes from the Stitched Nested Labels dies, and they're lovely, and they've got little, stitched detail all the way around, and they'll nest like so. Now I've chosen very vanilla there. So I'm going to stamp my sentiment, and my sentiment comes from this one, which is Tasteful Textures. Here, absolutely beautiful. So I'm just going to ink that up with some of my black ink. Which way around is it? Making sure I've got my stamp the right way round, and I'm going central there. Give that a press, and we've got a lovely clear image there. And I'm just going to set that 1 second whilst I get my glue ready, and then gently turn it over because I don't want to smudge that sentiment, and I'm just going to attach with some glue. Okay, stand that up, and then that will go just in the middle there and nest nicely inside that larger frame. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add more on the back, and we're going to attach it to our card base. Then we're going to do the magic. Then we're going to do the fun bit. So I'll put it as centrally as I can. Okay, I'm not measuring it. If you're really worried, you can measure. We've got a little tiny bit of something on there, but not to worry, I have a plan. So before I do my main part, what I'm going to do is I want some candy dots on there. These are actually faceted dots, but I don't have any in black. So what am I going to do? I'm going to get my Sharpie. I'm going to find the darkest dots I've got, which are these. I think that's pretty peacock, and I'm going to colour them with my Sharpie, which is a permanent marker. So if you don't have what you need, cheat, or adapt, rather than going out and buying things specific for one card. I'm not doing that. I'm not going to go out and buy some black dots. I'll make my own. Okay. Or you could colour rhinestones or pearls, or alternatively you could use a hole punch and punch out some little. Those are actually the larger ones. I want the medium ones, but it's okay. I'm not worried. I'll use those for something else. So I'm just going to colour these, and then I'm going to set them to one side to dry whilst I do the focal part of our card. Okay, so I'll just leave those to dry now so that I'm not smudging all over. So I'm taking a spare piece of black cardstock here. This is a scrap from something I've used before, and I'm just going to very gently use my embossing buddy, I call it, or my dust buddy, I've called it before. And I'm using the beautiful statement piece from the Bloom and Grow, which is one of my all-time favourites because this set is so versatile. I love it. This is the first time that I've embossed it, and I'm going to emboss it on the black with some lovely white embossing powder. And I really do like the Stampin' Up! Embossing powders. They are very good. I did have a customer mention to me the other day that her embossing wasn't working, and I said, well, which powders are you using? And she was using a brand that I have tried before and found it to be not brilliant. So I just said, just give Stampin' Up! A try. Sometimes you get what you pay for, and if you get a cheap one, you get a cheap reaction. So I'm going to put that on there now. And I know you might think, well, why is she doing it slanted? Because I want room to be able to hold my cardstock without smudging my Versamark. And also I'm going to cut it, I'm going to fussy cut it. So let me just get a piece of paper, and then I'm going to sprinkle my white embossing powder over my stamped Versamark. Plenty on, okay, and then just give it a gentle tap, and then just go on again to make sure you haven't missed anywhere. Okay, give it a gentle tap. Try and refrain from the utter natural urge to give it a blow or you'll blow all your powder off your card. Okay, and put that away and put your lid on. I'm not the tidiest of crafters, but I do always put away fine glitter and embossing powder straight away, because otherwise I know I shall knock it over. So now we're going to set that with a heat tool. So excuse the noise. Alright. And we just keep on going with that until, if you tilt it, you can tell when it's cooked because it goes shiny. Okay. There we go, starting to cook. Now, one thing which is my personal preference, if I ever want a white image on black card or on any other dark cardstock, I will always use white embossing powder as opposed to just using white ink, because the coverage is brighter, it's whiter, and for me it's just more striking than using just white ink. That's my tip, and that's how I do it. So then what I've done is I have actually fussy cut it very carefully. There are dies to go with this, but I was too frugal to buy them. So I have very carefully fussy cut it with my stamping snips, which don't seem to be on my table because I cut it out over on my other table. I love the stamping snips. They're very sharp and they've got nice thin blades so that when you're cutting you get a really fine cut. I have got other scissors, and for these, for example, and these have got chunky blades. These have got thinner blades and they've got the nice point. These are awesome for fussy cutting. I absolutely love my stamping snips. They're the best small scissors that I've ever owned. So I would advise you making sure you get a really good sharp pair for fussy cutting, and then just don't cut your fingers because I've done that before and then you end up bleeding all over your card. It's not a good look. So I'm using some stamping dimensionals. Okay, and hopefully we're going to beat the sun today because it's coming out again. It waits until I'm filming and then it comes out all nice and bright and sunshiny. So I'm going to then attach that to there. Now, how beautiful does that look against that, the sentiment there with the fussy cutting going around. So then the final touch is to go back to my my little dots that I changed the colour of. Okay, and I'm going to put one there. I've waited for them to dry so that I don't smudge, you know, to make sure that that ink's dry so it doesn't smudge and spoil my card. There's another tip, learn from my mistakes, because I've done just about every mistake you can possibly do when it comes to card making. Most of them I've done on my videos. And where that little bit of something on that is, I've now covered that up with a faceted gem. So there you go. Now this is an absolutely beautiful card. I will say it was inspired by another one that I saw on Instagram, and that lady was demonstrating for a totally different stamp company to mine, and when I saw it I thought, I wonder if I can make that. I often get inspiration from Instagram, And I do like to look at what other companies do and see what I've got in my supplies and think, I can do that. That's easy. And all you do is have a look in what you've got and get creative. I think that is really lovely. I'll leave all of the details of what I've used over on my blog at scrimpingmommy.co.uk. Go and give it a try. I hope you enjoyed that, and I'll see you again soon.